This video is all about finding limits with piecewise functions. Take a look at your screen. Notice this is a piecewise function because we see the graph in different pieces. So we're going to start with the very first part. It says find the limit as x approaches 3, and then that negative to the right hand side is from the left hand side. So this means find the limit as x approaches 3 from the left of the function f of x. So the idea of limit is as I move from the left hand side, so here's my x-axis, and the number 3, which is the number that I'm approaching, is right here. As I come from the left hand side, notice what will be the first part that I would get to in terms of a graph. I'm going to get to this part right here. So that means that I'm going to start looking for the limit by following this part of the piecewise function. And I'm going to move along the x-axis until I get closer and closer to 3. So when I get closer and closer to 3, notice the limit as x approaches 3 from the left is going to be 4. So what's happening with the y value is that as I get closer and closer to 3, I'm getting closer and closer to 4, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.9, 3.999, 3.99999, and that basically just continues, and so the limit as x approaches 3 from the left is 4. So now let's go on to the second part. The second part says to find the limit as x approaches 3, but this time from the right-hand side. So you are coming from the right-hand side. Here's the right-hand side right here. You're coming this way onto the graph, which means the first part of the graph that I'm going to basically go through is this part right here, because from the right-hand side, this is where I first see my graph. As I get closer and closer to the x value of 3, notice that my y value gets closer and closer to positive 2. So the limit as x approaches 3 from the right-hand side is going to be positive 2. The next part says, what's the limit as x approaches 3? This time around, there is no plus or minus to the right of that number 3. That means that I need to look at the limit from both sides. Now, when I was looking at the limit as x approaches 3 from the left-hand side, we got to the number 4 on the y. Because these two answers from the left and from the right do not match, basically I don't end up in the same number, that means that overall the limit as x approaches 3 does not exist. The only way that limit is going to exist is if these two answers would have been exactly the same. Now the next part of the question says to find f of 3. F of 3 means when x equals 3, what is y? Okay, so when x equals 3, what's the y value? Notice that at 3, the only place where this function is defined is at the point 3, 3. So the y value when x is equal to 3 is 3. So take a look over now at the right-hand side. It says the limit as x approaches 0. Because it doesn't say plus or minus, that means I have to consider both the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So when I come from the left-hand side, as I get closer and closer to 0, notice my y value gets closer and closer to 3. From the right-hand side, as I get closer and closer to 0, then my y value gets closer and closer to 3. That means that the limit as x approaches 0 is going to be 3. Because I'm basically at the same limit from the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Let's go ahead and try the next one. The limit as x approaches -1. Once again, there is no plus or minus to the right-hand side of that number, which means that I will have to consider both the left-hand side and the right-hand side before I find my answer. So the limit as x approaches -1. Here is -1. This is the x value of -1 that we're looking at. From the left-hand side, as I get closer and closer to -1, my y value is getting closer and closer to 3. From the right-hand side, as I get closer and closer to -1, my y value is getting closer and closer to 3. Therefore, the limit as x approaches -1 is going to equal 3. What is meant by f of -1? This means when x is equal to -1, what is the y value? So let's go ahead and take a look at the graph. When x is -1, the y value here is 3. Let's go ahead and talk about finding f of 0. F of 0 means when x is 0, what is the y value? And it's right here. That is also going to be 3. Hope you found this video helpful. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more help with math so that you can say, yes, I can do math with confidence. Until next time, thanks for watching.